So food insecurity is a household level economic and social condition of limited or uncertain access to adequate food, which is a definition defined by U.S. Department of Agriculture and Economic Research Service. So there are two levels of food insecurity. One is low food security and the other is very low food security. So low food security is when you have a reduction in dietary quality or variety, and very low food security is defined as when your eating patterns is disrupted and your food intake is reduced due to um due to unaffordability. So this graph shows the criteria or indicators of food security in the US, and it shows that most of the people who qualify for being low food secure and very low food secure are worried about food running out and they cannot afford a balanced meal. So particularly in the United States, since 2022, there was a big increase in food insecurity. So in 2023, about 13.5% of the people were in the low food security and very low food security category, and then about 5.1% were in the very low food security category. So this is about 47 million of the people across the United States, and that's about 1 in 7, which is a lot. And there was a big spike in between 2020 and 2023. And particularly in a smaller scale in Hawaii, about 30%, which is about 1 in 3 of households in Hawaii, experienced food insecurity in 2023, with 11% being low food security and 19% being very low food security. And this was a data from the Hawaii Food Bank 2023 yearly report. So currently, there are many ways that food insecurity is being addressed right now. These include like SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and these programs help people who qualify for the program to purchase foods despite lacking financial advantages and um, being able to pay for the food. Other things include food distribution centers like Hawaii Food Bank and the Aloha Harvest Organization. These food organizations help distribute food to the underserved communities. However, one challenge that they face is people physically being unable to come to these food distribution centers and get the food, mainly because they either live too far and they lack transportation due to their financial disadvantage. So both of these challenges were both identified by the food bank and the Aloha Harvest. To address this challenge, Hawaii Food Bank is currently working on a project called the Mobile Van Project. So this mobile van project will be aimed to help the underserved communities who lack physical access to the food distribution centers. So they'll be using vans to deliver food to certain food pantries across the island to ensure that everyone has access to a closer food distribution center that they can receive foods from. In the past, mapping tools have been used to plan and execute food distribution programs effectively to reach a larger amount of households who are in need. And mapping tools are often used through ArcGIS, and so that's what I use to do this research too. So to help Hawaii Food Bank with their mobile van project, I set up the research question of how should the Hawaii Food Bank food distribution strategy be improved to maximize serving the underserved communities with efficiency. So first, data was collected from various platforms, and then they were inputted into the ArcGIS Pro software, where I identified the food distribution locations and their incomes, and then network analysis was done, and some factors had to be predetermined in order for that to be done, which ultimately gave me the optimal routes. So for the data collection process, I got the median income data from the Census Bureau and also a map of the census tract of Oahu from the Census Bureau. And I also got the zip code map from the Hawaii Statewide GIS program. And I got the location of food distribution centers from the Hawaii Food Bank. And all of these data were inputted into ArcGIS Pro after getting cleaned and reorganizing the data. So using the base map of Oahu in the ArcGIS Pro program, I first layered out the census tract data on it, and these different colors here represent the amount of different incomes, and the darker it is, it means they have a higher income in that census tract. And also after that, the food distribution centers were mapped. There were more, but because I am working with the Hawaii Food Bank and they wanted to focus on the food pantries, I only mapped out the food pantries. And in order to make the data of food distribution centers be able to be inputted into the mapping software, I had to use Google Earth to change the format of the data. And then the critical food pantry locations were narrowed down. There's from all of the food pantries across the island of Oahu, the Hawaii Food Bank wanted to focus on the more underserved communities. So we chose to focus more on a certain zip code area. So I used a zip code overlay to extract the exact amount of food pantries that the Hawaii Food Bank will be focusing on, which were most focused on 967 zip code areas. And as you can see in the map in the left, the amount of food pantries in all of the food pantries are in a more like lower income area. So prior to determining the optimal route, information on food pantries were gathered. So the locations, the address, the days of operation, and the hours of operation of each food pantries was made into a table to allow further information that could help determine the optimal route using network analysis. So network analysis is something that allows for the analysis of the data sets of geographic network or real world network. So it allows for me to perform the optimal route using the software. So several factors that were determined before the network analysis was run was delivery quantity, how much of the food will be delivered to each food pantry, and how much one van could carry. So I estimated the amount of food that would be delivered to the food pantries to be about 300 pounds based on how many pounds of food usually one household consumes each week. And that was estimated through that. And then each van was able to carry about 3,500 pounds of food. And the number of routes was set to 5 because Hawaii Food Bank would have 5 vans. And the maximum distance per route was set to 110 to ensure that one route doesn't go through all of the food pantries and the other four goes through like only a few. And the cost per time was set to 1 to reduce the amount of time taken for the route to take to help with the efficiency, as it would save money as cars consume oils and oils need money. The earliest and latest start time was set based on when the Hawaii Food Bank opens and closes. It was made sure that the latest start time wouldn't go when they came back from the delivery, it wouldn't go over the time of the closing time of Hawaii Food Bank. And the service time for each destination was set to 10 minutes to give a little room time for them to unload the foods and then leave the food distribution center. So this is the result of the determination of 5 optimal routes using network analysis from the ArcGIS software, particularly vehicle routing problem. So vehicle routing problem is a specific kind of network analysis, and it allows for you to make a delivery route based on certain sequences and certain destinations. As you can see, the pink square in the lower bottom is the Hawaii Food Bank, and from there, it stretches out into 5 routes, and each color represents each route, and these are the 5 optimal routes. It also gave more detailed information on the detailed directions and the overall summary of the time, distance, and wait time. So the distance directions here shows where the food bank started, what time it started, how long and how much distance is for each road, and all the timestamps for going by each road. So if you look at this here, the colored boxes represent each route and their summarized information of the whole route. Most of the routes take about 2.5 hours to about 5 hours, which is a good distribution of time across the different routes. There's one anomaly being 6 hours and 40 minutes, which is the longest time, but this is mainly due to because of the longer wait time compared to the other 4 routes. The other 4 routes have less than 30 minutes of wait time, whereas this route has over 2 hours of wait time, and this is mainly because for the first route, it has a longer traffic light wait time and other factors that slows the route down. The blue route is actually the smallest one down there you can see in the bottom, and that's mainly because it's less of a rural area compared to the other four routes, which is possibly why it causes more waiting time. So there's still more to be done to enhance the effectiveness of this route. I did get the speed limit data from the Department of Transportation, but because it was not feasible to be used in order to conduct the network analysis, the data ended up not being used. But live traffic data or speed limit data added on to this analysis would really increase the accuracy and preciseness of the optimal route of this research. So that would have been one limitation of my research. So in summary, I was able to optimize the food distribution route using ArcGIS and particularly vehicle routing problem, which will be sent to the Hawaii Food Bank to help them with the planning process of the mobile van project to help them find the most efficient ways to deliver all of the foods to the food pantries. So these two are the maps of the comparisons of all of the food pantries across the island of Oahu and the ones that was used for the analysis. The one on the left is all the food pantries, and the one on the right is the ones that were just used for the analysis. And as you can see, a lot of the food pantries are clustered in the more higher income areas, which really re-emphasizes the need for more food distribution centers across Oahu to meet the needs of the underserved communities. So as part of my project, I had to run a lot of analysis to ensure that they were working and they didn't have any errors. So I really like to emphasize perseverance throughout the project. It's really important to continue on despite meeting errors because a lot of thought and time was required to fix each error because I had to go figure out what was wrong with the particular thing. And sometimes the software can be really vague about it. So I had to go through each and every error. So that was a challenge, but through a lot of running the network analysis, I was ultimately able to be successful with running the analysis. And this is technically the history of how much I ran. There's more, but that's just like a top view of how much I ran the analysis to get it right. Finally, I would like to say a special thank you to my mentor, Ms. Mahani Lindquist, and Dr. Chan, and the Hawaii Food Bank for helping me, and particularly Ms. Mario Torbio, who's the Vice President of the Hawaii Food Bank. Thank you.